We won. First SCL win in the first show of the season for me. I took a few tries, but we finally got a win in the Strongman Champions League. We're pretty happy about that. It's hard to win those, as you know. And was ICEMAN of all the shows. If you know me, I hate being cold. That's why I moved to the South. But I'm never gonna say no to SCL. It's just it's such a good time, and I just love everything about I love everything about it. So when did it, and of course, even freezing cold, I had fun. Unfortunately, no vlog for this one. I didn't film essentially anything. My hands were in my pockets the whole time. I was freezing, and Adrian couldn't make it to this one, unfortunately. So no vlog. I don't have any videos of my events, like nothing. Someone sent me the frame in the loading event, and that's all I have. And I have some photos, like on my Instagram. You can see all the photos. Those were super cool. But yeah, we're in Finland, almost on the Russian border, in the snow, in the middle of the winter at night. So it's quite an experience. But was able to pull it off. Now that I've done, I think this was if you count Italy, this is in Canada. No, Canada doesn't count because that's my time zone. If you count Italy, it's been maybe 6 international shows that I've done now where I'm like in a completely different time zone. And people always tell you all these tricks like, oh, don't sleep at the airport because you won't sleep on the plane. Don't sleep this time. Stay up, stay awake all night and do this. You know, for me, I've realized that none of that works. I'm not there long enough to adjust. So I just try to sleep whenever I can. Like if I don't feel like I want to take a nap, I'll just sleep. And then I don't get super stressed out about getting to bed at a normal time because we always compete in the afternoon or the evening anyway. So I'll just sleep all day on and off. Like I'll wake up for hotel breakfast and then just go back to bed and just kind of like periodically sleep. And the night before, or however many days I'm competing, usually I'll stay out until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. People think that's crazy, but it's like if I'm not competing until 4 p.m. and I can sleep all day, like 3, 4 in the morning in Europe is like my normal bedtime here. So I don't actually change anything. So yeah, that's what I've come to realize. And I think that helped too, because I just have more experience with how I want to manage my sleep and my food. And it turns out it's just do it whenever you want to as much as you can. You can't, if you're only in a country that's 7 hours away for 4 hours or 4 days, you're not going to adjust. You know, so it's like just expect to feel groggy and weird because you're essentially like getting up in the middle of the night to eat and competing first thing in the morning. It's like, it's nuts, you know what I mean? So you got to just assume you're going to feel weird and just like get stuff in whenever you can. Other people might not agree with that at all. Like so many people gave me advice on like what to do. And this is just what I've realized works for me. So you might want to do all that stuff, like stay up all night for a day. And, you know, for me, it's like, don't even adjust. Just sleep whenever you want, eat whenever you want. Anyway, because you got to just be on mentally for a few minutes. You know, so it's like you just got to really get excited before the event and all that stuff doesn't matter. Because you should have a few days off from training anyway. And ideally your sleep was okay leading up to all these nights with no sleep. And I think that's how it works out. Is it's like you're kind of deloaded and it's not like you weren't sleeping all the days prior. It's just a couple days before the show. But yeah, event 1 was frame carry. And I was kind of happy about that because I was stressing some of the other events that ended up being really good for me. So turned out it was for nothing. But they had just given us these boots and they were super nice, like really, really nice and made a big difference. Like if I was just wearing my Nikes, I would have been screwed completely. And these boots, like, I don't know how they make them, but I felt great in them. And it was weird because it's like they're high tops and they have a heel on them. Oh, here's the boot. But you can see, I don't know, man. All I know is they felt so much better. I don't know if you can see the bottom. They're really nice. They got this, like, it reminds me of like Reebok pumps. They got this like weighted tighten them that's not laces. But yeah, this company, I think they sponsored the event. They gave us these for free. It's really nice. And I just didn't know what to expect on the snow. Like, we were warming up lighter and it felt pretty normal, but I left a little bit in the tank just for safety reasons. Like, I didn't want to fall on the first event, you know what I mean? Or have something bad happen, like a slip, tear or something. So I went as fast as I could, like within reason. I was still able to get third. Like, in hindsight, I could have gone a little faster, but like, that's always how it is. It's like, maybe, you know, you can say whatever you want after the comp's done. Got third in that event. The next event was the front hold, I believe, and I was able to win that. Just been training that so hard for so long. Like, my shoulders were my weak point. My press used to be my weak point, and I just, for the past couple of years, I've just been hammering it. It worked out. I got first place in the front hold. Just grinder of a shoulder workout. And I won't go too deep into this, but it's like my foot positioning ended up not being that great. Like, believe it or not, when you're up against the pillar, it's like if your feet are too far away, you could literally, the way these are set up, you could tip them over, so you don't want to be too far away. But if your feet are too close, and that's what I did, so much is in your core because you're just holding yourself up. You're not really bracing against your feet because your back can't leave the pillar. So for me, I made it harder on myself. I'm still able to pull it off, so I'm really happy with that. The next event was the yoke, and I won that event as well. That's something I've been training so hard. Like, that used to not be a great event for me, and I got a couple different ideas as to what's helping it that I've done recently, where it really started to feel better, and maybe I'll elaborate on that another time. But, or if you want to just message me, I'll tell you. But because I don't want to make this too long. But yeah, the yoke felt good. It was long. It was 50 meters. Like, that's longer than you typically do that event. And yeah, I felt super strong on the way down. Same thing, we're in the snow, and the way, I don't know if you saw the photos or not on my Instagram, but there's a girl on each side and the weight. So I'm sure it wasn't perfectly balanced. And there's a little bit of instability there, but I didn't even feel that. I felt like super strong. Brought it down. It was crazy because when you dropped it, it slid like another, in the snow, it slid like another 5-10 feet. So you drop it at the line, and then it keeps going. So we really went more than 50 meters because the thing slid for a bit. Or at least it felt like a long time when you're worried about it. And coming back, yeah, it's just so long. You just had to grind it out. I remember those like last 5-10 steps and just had it in my head, like, just don't drop it, you know. Then we had the wrecking ball hold. So for me, I had some experience doing this because I'd been training it for something recently. It's a little different than the way I've been doing it because I've been kind of doing like a no rules wrecking ball training where you could bend the knees and stuff. Whereas this one, we had to keep our legs straight and we were allowed to do a mixed grip. So it was kind of funky. Like, it was different than what I'd ever seen. Like the Giants Live one where it's like your hands are close together. This was like a longer, it almost looked like an easy bar. It had a lot of knurling. That was super painful, and then it was cold. So it was really like such a pain tolerance event from so many angles. Like, there was knurling on the bar, plus it was freezing, and then obviously the grip issue. And I was able to get, I think, second in that event. It was another good event for me. I've been training my grip really hard, and I changed the way I've been training it, and it feels a lot stronger lately. So maybe same thing, like message me, or maybe I'll make another video about that. But my grip felt super good. Then that was the end of day one. So I finished day one in first place. I was in a really good spot, like 2 event wins right off the bat. Day two, going into day two, I felt good. Kind of the same thing. Now I'd kind of felt the cold. I wasn't sweating the cold as much going into day two. I did what I usually do. I was out all night and then just ate and slept all day. So I felt pretty good. And like I said, like I knew what to do and how the cold would feel. So the biggest worry I had for day two was the first event. It was the truck pull. Apparently that's a good event for me now because like not counting Turkey because I did that barefoot, but like South Africa and then the truck pull went really well for me. I think South Africa, I can't remember if I was like 3rd or 4th or something, but I was top 5, and that's a huge improvement. I used to be bad at it. And then I got 2nd in the truck pull here. This was completely insane. We were pulling this big tractor thing, and it actually really wasn't completely possible at first. So they adjusted the setup so we could get it going, and just because of the grip issue, right? The rope was cold, covered in snow and ice, and then you're standing in the snow, right? So it's not a great condition to pull a truck or a tractor. So what it turned into was kind of like, and I think this was much more of like a strength event, or maybe it was just by chance, but the top 2 in the truck pull were also the top 2 in the deadlift. Yeah, it was me and Pat. And so maybe it was like deadlift strength, because literally the way I was doing it is you walk your hands out and then just push your hips forward and basically do a deadlift to move the thing. We had 90 seconds. It was a 1.5 minute event. And we were pulling the truck for the entire 90 seconds. That's how impossible it was. But it was 1 rep at a time. Like squeeze the rope, do a deadlift, push your hips forward, walk them out. It was basically like starting the truck over and over and over and over again, all the way down. And it was just really unusual and difficult. Like I came off that event just mangled, like 90 seconds of straight of that. And it was kind of funky because that was a 1 person at a time event. And then the next event was 2-person heats. And I went, I believe, 2nd to last on the truck pull, because that was my placement on the hold the night before on the wrecking ball. So long story short, I didn't have a lot of time between my truck pull and my deadlifts. Like those shows in Finland move really fast. So going from a 1 person each with a reset, like a truck pull where people are getting a lot of rest, to being one of the last guys in that heat, and then the 2-person deadlift heats, like I was not completely recovered. Like I was still like jello from the truck pull going into the deadlift. And like I said, I wasn't Pat seemed like he had like 12 reps in him, which I didn't. I still got 7 and was able to get 2nd place. But it was funny, like the way, as soon as we started that event, like it was me and Pat in the heat. We were top 2 in the truck, and he was doing the reps. Like I could see out the corner of my eye, I'm like, all right, 2nd place. So I remembered who, I knew I wasn't going to beat him in that. So I just did whatever I had to do to get 2nd there. Oh, bag toss. Yeah, that was kind of a mess. I still did well because I finished it, because I can throw bags really high. But since moving down to Georgia, I don't have a good bag toss setup. And I had only trained it maybe 2 or 3 times since Turkey. Because like I came off since before Africa, actually, last year. Because after Turkey, I wasn't training events. So I wasn't doing bag toss. I was just doing like full off season. And then when I moved to Georgia, there was no setup down here, and I only had a 60-pound bag. So I was outside in the dirt throwing a 60-pound bag 1 rep at a time up against the building. And it's just like not ideal, when it comes to like doing a bag series fast. So this is what it is. I'm still setting up my training environment down here. That's just on like, I haven't had time, or I literally have bags over there, throw bags, not full, sitting over in the corner. Like I just have to keep building out my training environment down here because it's just not complete. So it just is what it is. I didn't train that event, really. I like threw bags, like I said, threw a 60 around a couple times in the dirt. So anyway, it was hard, and not for nothing, it was like hard to throw the bags because you couldn't get the same leg drive. It was almost just like your lower back. Like you're just kind of heaving the bags over because you couldn't really grip the snow to be explosive. So I missed one, and then I went and got it, and then I kind of took my time and made sure they got over. It was like one of my worst like bag toss runs of all time. But having not, I think I still took 4th or 5th in the event, so having not trained it at all, like I'll take it. But if I had done that event the way that I could when I'm training it all the time, it would have just made me like borderline not even have to do the last event. So like going into that, not getting 5th, and then Kevin won that event. So that really closed the gap with us. So we went into the last event in a way where for me to lose my first place, I would have had to get below 7th place, and Kevin would have had to win the loading event. So like 2 weird things would have had to happen. Like, or not weird. It wouldn't be weird for him to win the loading event. He's really good, but it'd be weird for me to do poorly on the loading event. But you never know. Like I could just drop one. And the way the SCL is, it's like top 8, every single one of us finished it, I believe, in a decent time. So it was possible. Like it was definitely possible for me to get second. So it's kind of a bummer with the bag toss kind of just like messing up my lead, especially when that used to be one of my best events when I'm training it all the time. But anyway, pulled it off. I ended up getting 3rd. Like we were so close. Me, Peter, and Kevin in the loading event, like top 3, we were fractions of a second apart. So that could literally just be like stopwatch error that kept us all apart. So that was awesome. And I was like very clearly above 7th place. I was in like 3rd. I think it was like Peter beat me by like 0.18 seconds. So anyway, I knew coming off that event, like Kevin and I were so close, it had to be top times. Like I knew the second I put down the last object that I won. So that was pretty cool. I just went over to the judges to confirm, and I was like, all right, cool. Like I won a Champions League. Pretty sweet. But yeah, like I gotta jump. I gotta go to the gym. I'm meeting people there at noon. But that's my shorter recap. And like I said, if you want to know like how I've been training, I can either coach you or we can chat. And I might just make a video about a couple of those things. But see you soon. Back on YouTube after a couple weeks.